This was a song about the fact that I would drink so much because I was so scared of having all the eyes on me. And, that's what alcohol really did for me, was it created this different person. Like, I was so outgoing. I could talk to anybody. I could have a conversation with anybody. And I was fun and it was all this, but it would end up being the death of me. Like, there was such a bad side to it. So that was kind of like showing that when I was going through all of that, like, I finally realized, like, being the life of the party is going to be the death of me, and I had to give it up.
Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Welcome back to the Curious Goldfish podcast. I'm Jason English. I'm so proud of the more than 100 episodes that I've been a part of these past 2 years. I'd love if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Spotify. And please go to curiousgoldfish.com and sign up for our newsletter. There's so much great content in that and on the website. If you like music, the stories and lessons behind the songs, please check out all of my other episodes. Now, on to today's conversation with Caitlynne Curtis. There's a specific kind of grit in people who spent years working for every single dollar. Caitlynne Curtis didn't start on a stage. She started in a car lot. It's that high stakes, sell or starve energy that either hardens you or makes you give up entirely. And Caitlynne didn't give up. She's a Nashville staple now. She just released a new project called You Need Jesus. But don't let the title fool you into thinking this is some polished Sunday school record. It's about the intersection of country and gospel, the kind that actually gets some dirt under your fingernails. We went deep on a lot of things. We talked about a specific night this past Halloween, a real rock bottom moment that forced her into choosing a completely different path. It started a sobriety journey that she's incredibly open about today. You know, we often think of the life of the party as the person having the most fun. But Caitlynne and I talked about how that role was actually her biggest cage. It's exhausting being the one everyone expects to keep the lights on. There's also some great stuff about her son, Jonah. He actually ended up on the album because he can apparently freestyle better than most adults. He's the heart of her story, her life, and her career. And now she's about to head out on her very first headlining tour. No band, no bells, no whistles, just her, a guitar, and some stories. So now from Nashville, Tennessee, here's Caitlynne Curtis. Let's dive in. Caitlynne, really appreciate your time.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you. You've got a lot going on. We're days after the release of your album, You Need Jesus. So congrats on that. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me for a few minutes. How's it going? How's the release going?
It's going so good. I'm so grateful. I didn't know if it was going to do well because it's just how my brain works. I never think that anything's going to do well, and then I get pleasantly surprised. So
All right.
it's been amazing.
So how does that work today? You either knowing or not knowing if it's doing well. I mean, is it the streams? Is it other things? Like what's the biggest indicator for you?
So it's always like just the feedback for me. Like, if streams aren't the number that I want to see, that's fine. It's basically sorry, I just got a call. Let me exit that out. So sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's basically just the feedback from everybody. And, I had said one time that if my friends listen to my music, that's when and they like it, that's when I know I made some good music, because my friends have never listened to my music and they love this album. So I'm so excited about that.
I mean, they can't be friends if they don't listen to your music, right?
Yeah, well, they like this one, so I guess we'll give them a pass.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, tell me a little bit about. I know there's a big rush before the release, and then probably the week of the release and then after the release. I guess what are some of the big activities that you've had to sort of commit yourself to over the last, I don't know if it's a month or 2 or 3 weeks, and are there anything you definitely will do again on your next album, in terms of promotion and things like that? And is there anything that's like, okay, that didn't really work?
I mean, just I do what I can on TikTok, and TikTok hates to see somebody promote their music. So it's like it never does well on TikTok. But I don't, whatever it is, what it is. I like to make little stupid videos to my music and, posting about it, doing, getting content and all that good stuff. But yeah, TikTok is where I used to do, all my promotion. And then it was kind of just like, doesn't really work anymore.
Why do you think that is?
I I have no clue. I think it's the algorithm. I think it's because, if you're trying to get somebody to go outside of that platform and listen to your music, they're like, "Wait a minute, we don't get a cut of that. We're not gonna push this out and nobody's gonna see it," you know? That's what I think is happening. It's for everybody too,
Mm. Well, you've done
unfortunately.
well on it though. I think you've got like 2 million
Yeah.
followers. I mean,
I
that's
do. Me and
that's
my
nothing to.
son, man,
Well, yeah,
we
Jonah. Yeah.
Jonah, we started doing TikToks in 2020, when we were stuck inside. And from there, it was just like everybody grew to love him. He's so funny. And it's really cool. It's been really cool to see how much he's grown and how much people have gotten to see him grow with me. It's so amazing.
All right. Well, I'm going to come back to Jonah in a bit, but just one more question again on kind of what's working and what has worked. So if the TikTok thing's a little bit weird now for you, where is your attention focused in terms of engaging with your fans?
Yeah, I try to engage on all platforms. My Facebook is so amazing. Everybody, hypes me up on Facebook. Sometimes, unless you get to the wrong side of Facebook, then it's pretty rough. But Instagram's nice too. I try to, I spend a lot of time on social media because I do want to reply to people and I do want to say thank you for, downloading my music, even watching my videos. Like, it means a lot. So I try to be as active as I can on social media until there's a point, maybe one day, that I won't be able to be as active if it gets too wild.
Yeah.
But for
But
now,
but it's you who's commenting, it's you who's replying. Like you don't have a whole
yes.
team that's like doing that for you.
Nope, it's a lot, but no, I don't have a team right now doing social media, so I do what I can.
Okay. All right. So the album, when we're talking, it's early March. The album came out late February. What are you planning to do the rest of 2026 to promote it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep putting it out there, and I'm going on tour in May, and I'm gonna sing all my new songs, and I'm gonna sell some CDs, and just focusing on those shows and making content, and yeah, just trying to get my music out there.
All right, so I'm old enough to remember cassette tapes and obviously compact discs, but why is the CD coming back? Like, and who plays them? Are they just there to like have?
I think so. I think because if you see now, there's also vinyl is very, very popular.
Yeah.
I think eventually, we're humans and we need that like human experience. And I feel like because technology has taken over so much, I think that's why a lot of old school things come back. It's gonna just circle back because we want that like that tangible item or that connection.
Hmm.
I really think that that's what's going on as far as, CDs coming back, vinyls coming back.
Yeah.
Um, there was an artist that was selling cassettes. Like, who can play them? Probably nobody right now,
Oh,
unless you
nobody.
have like a machine. But
Well, thanks for that perspective. So, I guess back to the tour. Is it you and a guitar?
me and a guitar.
Okay.
I'm looking right now. I think I'm gonna end up finding a guitar player to go with me, so it's
Mm.
not just me by myself. But we'll see. Hopefully soon about that. But yeah, it's an acoustic tour. It's gonna be a very like it's gonna be some of the smaller rooms, so it's a really cool night. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, because the album it's kind of big.
Mhm.
There's a lot going on. So that'd be cool to kind of hear the softer side of You Need Jesus. I guess when you wrote these songs, was it the big sound that you had in your mind, or did it start as the sort of the acoustic flavor?
Well, this is why I wanted to do an acoustic tour because I wanted it to be like as it was written. when you write, when I write, it's just me, some of my friends, a couple other friends, and a guitar player. And we write to the acoustic guitar, and then, my producer, Ned Cameron, he works his magic and he brings the whole song to life in a way that I could never even imagine. So it's very cool when it starts from just you and a guitar, and then it builds around it. That's why I love music so much.
That's right. Well, good. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love singer-songwriter listening rooms and things like that because you get to kind of connect on a different layer and different level. But I will say the album is great as it sounds. I mean, you've got obviously a tremendous voice, but it's not too much, and the instrumentation and everything is great. So well done. So it's called You Need Jesus, I guess. On the surface, it's like, okay, is this a gospel album or like what's the intention here? But you kind of interplay a little bit of the higher power, but also, romance, heartbreak, like all the day-to-day things. I guess, how long have you had these themes in your heart and in your mind and leading up to making this?
Yeah, so that's why I picked You Need Jesus as the focus track, because when search out "You need Jesus," what does this mean? Like, it could mean so many different things, like, "You need Jesus," or, in the sense of the song, like, it was just a really cool play on words, "You need Jesus, because I can't make a blind man see." But I kinda try to, when I write songs, I don't know where it comes from, but there's a lot of the times where I will put a ton of gospel elements in it. I don't consider myself a gospel artist,
Mhm.
but I do like to mix the two as far as gospel and country. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's a song called Devil You Made on the album, which is complete opposite. One of my favorite songs. It's so fun. And that one was incredible to write with my friends. Wrote that one with Cole Miracle, Bo Bailey, Ned Cameron, and Struggle, and myself. And they came in with that idea, don't put a girl through hell if you can't deal with the devil you made. And I was like, let's write it right now. Love it.
So tell me, because I think you were born in the Northeast, but you moved around a little bit until you were 12 and you ended up in Nashville. Did you grow up with a religious upbringing?
I mean, my mom would bring me to a Catholic church every so often, as many
Okay.
times as she could drag us in there. But no, not really, not too
Yeah.
much. I kind of really, stumbled and was kind of lost along the way. And it wasn't until October 31st, 2024, where I had that big whoa, that moment where it was like, wow, okay, I get what I'm supposed to do now. I understand. And I started going to church, reading the Bible, and it's been a journey ever since.
So can I ask you what happened on Halloween of
Yeah.
a couple years ago or a year and a half ago? Yeah, what happened?
So I had, I was drinking a lot when I'd go on tour, I was drinking, partying, all that stuff. And
Mm.
it was just that one night where I just had so much to drink and I blacked out. I ended up getting a funny tattoo, little trampoline stickman person on that night, so I'll never forget it. But I had that moment where I was like, wow, I just hit rock bottom.
Mm.
And I said, I need to get sober and I need to read the Bible and I need to go to church. And so I started doing that, and I haven't drank since, so I've been sober since. And yeah, we're still a work in progress, but I'm trying to be better.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've talked to a few people in the last couple of years since starting the podcast, and I'm not going to say out of like the 100 people, 90 have a similar story, but it's actually a fair number, for better or worse, right? But I think it's what I love is like the music has been therapy for people, and then also connecting with the fan base in terms of and it depends on how transparent and how vulnerable the artist is. But I think the feedback I've gotten is from these artists that are going through the sobriety journey is, by and large, they don't regret being transparent about it because it's allowed them to connect with their fan base on a different level, and the feedback that they've gotten has been really good. So I guess, have you? Again, I didn't know about this. Maybe I should have prepared more. But how open have you been about that? And do you hear similar stories, and has your music been able to help you and help other people?
Yeah, I mean, I'll see comments from people, or I've mentioned on my social medias before that, I stopped drinking, and it's nice to see that a lot of people are very supportive of it, because that was one of my big fears is, oh, well, I'm gonna have to go to the bars and everything. People are gonna think I'm so boring, but nope, it's actually a very common thing. I go to the bar and everybody's drinking water. And I'm like, what is changing?
Oh, wow.
So, and I've had people tell me that my music has helped them, and it's crazy, honestly, because writing it helps me, and then it's so mind blowing that I wrote it, and now it not only did it help me, but now it's helping other people. It's so cool. I love where I'm at as an artist. I think even though it's not selling out arenas and being on the radio, I mean, that obviously comes with time. I think I'm doing so well. I love it. People like my music, people are listening to my music, and I think that's really all that matters. And if arenas come, that would be really cool. If I, do, like Eddie's Attic forever, cool, whatever, as long as people like my music, honestly.
And back to Jonah too. I mean, he may be too young to kind of recognize, but as a mom, I bet you're like, okay, thank God I made this decision, because it's not just you; it's his livelihood's also at stake. When you're going through that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah, that's my dude, my little best friend. I love
And
him so
Jonah
much.
Jonah makes an appearance on the album,
He does.
right? So yeah, the track is called Survivor. I think it's the last one. All right, so like, was that his idea? Was that your idea? Like, how'd that come to be?
We were on my TikTok live, and we were just, just he was freestyling because he's been doing freestyle rapping since he was little. I know he's little, but like 4 or 5 years old. And we were on the live. He was doing some freestyles, and everybody was like, "Do a song with your mom." And I was thinking about it. I said, "All right, well, I actually have this song that I had written a first verse and a chorus, and I didn't write the second verse." So I pulled up the beat that I had used, and I was like, "Let me do the first verse, and then I'll sing the chorus, and then you just hop in and freestyle something." So I do my part, and then he freestyles, and that's what he freestyled. And
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh!
"Bro, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life."
Oh
So we
my
went
god!
back, played it back. I wrote it all down, made a tweak here and there, and then went to the studio the next day. And he did his part in like one take. And I'm like, who are you supposed to be the singer? What's going on here? Like, this is crazy. So that's how that song came about, and I've loved it ever since.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, good grief. So how old is he now? Is he 10?
He's 11.
He's 11. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, so when you were 12, your parents, made some choices, made some sacrifices, and moved to Nashville. T- Tell me about how you view Jonah now for the next 10 years, based on the learnings that you had as a child, where your parents, were either, helping you and supporting you in your music career. Like, did you learn anything that you're like, I'm not going to do that? Or was there something that they did that you're like, okay, like I learned a really good lesson that I'm going to apply to Jonah to make sure that his heart's protected, and he's, and I don't know if he wants to pursue music, but if he's freestyling at 4, then it's in him. Right. But yeah, like, talk me through that. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I actually really love this question, because there is, one thing that I think of, and not to say anything bad, or negative about it, but my dad had this mindset that don't get your hopes up, because if you don't get your hopes up, you can't be disappointed. And I always used to think like, no, that's wrong. Like I believe in myself, I'm not going to not believe in myself. So I had always instilled that in me. And with Jonah, I tell him anything is possible. If you want to be the friggin' neurosurgeon, then all you got to do is practice, put your mind to it, go read some books, and go to school for a long time, and that's what you can be. So I have really tried to, tell him that the sky's the limit. You can do anything that you set your mind to.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, as a dad, you know what and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, but I love the fact that, like, I tend now, especially at my age, my kids are older now. They're probably a little bit younger than you, but confidence to me is that trumps everything for me, you know?
Yeah.
And you can get confidence from yourself, but if you have a support structure around you, friends and family, and especially a mom that obviously has had her fair share of success telling you that you can do it. I mean, good, watch out because Jonah,
Right.
he's doing it now with that support. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm so excited for him. He's also been doing some acting too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, you do whatever you want to do. It's gonna work.
All right. Well, cool. Well, so thanks for sharing that. I guess I want to ask you. I'm not going to rehash the stuff that you've talked about a ton about, like the X Factor, and then the time in between that and when you met struggle. But just a couple of questions as kind of follow ups. I guess similar question to the lessons of your parents and how they handled your upbringing. What lesson did you learn now that it's been, I don't know, 10 or so years since the X Factor, that you still think about, that has helped you, because it's just a really tremendous sign of resilience. Does that still play into who you are? Not really the show itself, but the lessons from the show.
Yeah, I mean, I when that show happened, and the one thing that stuck out to me the most was, you're just not ready yet. Um, that was a major thing for me. It's like, okay, I'm not ready yet. So what do I
Mm,
need to do to get ready? So every day I would literally practice for, and my mom and dad would have different work schedules, and there was a 4-hour window where nobody was home, and I would sing for 4 hours straight, the hardest songs that I could sing every single day, until one of them came home, until I could barely even talk, and I know that's not the right thing to do, but that's just what I did, and I would sing every single day, and I would practice and practice and practice. And even today at 31 years old, I'm, just in the past year, I've been going to, see a vocal coach just so I can keep perfecting what I'm doing, and so I look at that as, like, there's always room to grow,
mm.
you know? And you're never gonna be the very best at anything. You have to work as hard as you absolutely can. So that was, the major lesson for me, and, of course, just never giving up, and everything takes time, and if it's gonna work, it's gonna work, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. At least you tried.
Well, yeah, and there's the opposite. If let's say it had worked, whatever that meant. Let's say that you had more success there than what happened. There's also the threat of, or the risk of, that crashing more quickly, and you actually hitting a bottom faster than you would otherwise. Even the high may have been higher, right? So,
Yeah, for sure.
um, and I think, like, that experience probably built a callus in a good way around you, to toughen you up. Because I know, like, the music industry, like you were talking about TikTok. I mean, one day you're the belle of the ball on TikTok, then next day you're not, and so it's like
I know.
almost like you're the callus. Having that callus come in to itself at an early age probably has helped you.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's like you're always gonna have highs and you're gonna have lows, and it's how you react to the lows that's gonna determine if certain things are for you, because that's the hardest part is if you get, super high and then all of a sudden you drop down, you're like, no, like you can't have any, you have to validate yourself. You can't have, numbers or stuff like that validate you. You have to really believe in yourself
That's
through it
awesome.
all.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to triple down on the lesson question. Then I promise I'm going to move off. So again, another fascinating part of your story is the car salesperson aspect. High commission, commission only sales job when you were, on the heels of the X Factor experience. What specific skills did you learn, like, in that job, that you may still be either knowingly or unknowingly using today?
Oh man. Wow, sales was like it was a fun job. I I was gonna say I learned how to talk to people, but I'm the most socially awkward person there is, so I probably didn't learn much from that. Yeah, I mean, really, it was just going out there and talking to people, and just being nice and selling a car. I don't know. They're kind of similar if you think about it. Selling a car and trying to sell your music. It's just believing in something, like believing in a product, and
Right.
yeah, other people eventually believe in it too.
No, that's good. I mean, your story is wild. I love it. I love it so much, and hopefully that it'll continue with you and Jonah and everything else. But all right, I'm gonna have some questions about some of the songs on "You Need Jesus." Before we get there, I guess where, as a 31-year-old with now this album out and the tour this summer and everything, I guess where do you think you are as an artist today, and where do you want to be? Yeah, great answer.
Thanks.
Great answer. Yeah, because that's kind of, I mean, you can't control anything, but you can control the sound, you can control the lyrics, you can control, and if you love it, and like you said earlier, if your friends are listening to it, the rest will happen or not happen. And I think a lot of people get obsessed with a lot of the metrics of the music industry and everything today. So, yeah, good
Yeah, I just
answer.
really like making music. I love making music. It's my favorite thing in the world since I was 6 years old.
Yeah,
So I'm even grateful that I get to do it for a job.
well, good.
Like, seriously.
No, it's great. Yeah, it's great. Well, so speaking of that, there's 2 or 3 songs I want to ask about. Um, on that topic of like, okay, you love music. There is a song called "Life of the Party," which is interesting because you're sort of lamenting the fact that people are depending on you to have a good evening, at a show and for you to be on stage. I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna read a couple of the lyrics. Yeah, it just talks about the exhausting reality of entertaining others while someone may be suffering. So you say here, being the life of the party is going to be the death of me. Wake up and tell myself sorry, but it's who I got to be. The pressure I feel when the room has been filled and their night is depending on me. So even though if you love music, I guess is this a little bit of a lament?
Yes, this was a song about the fact that I would drink so much because I was so scared of having all the eyes on me, and,
Mhm.
that's what alcohol really did for me was it created this different person. Like, I was so outgoing, I could talk to anybody. I could have a conversation with anybody, and it was fun, and it was all this, but it would end up being the death of me. Like, there was such a bad side to it. So that, was kinda, like, showing that when I was going through all of that, like, I finally realized, like, being the life of the party is gonna be the death of me, and I had to give it up.
All right, that's awesome. Um, yeah, have you always written songs kind of like this? In terms of, I love the word. We talked about the wordplay earlier, and that juxtaposition of like death and life of the party. It's really really good.
Yeah, that's something that I've learned from Struggle over the years. He is the master at a play on words. It is so cool, and being able to watch him write, and then getting to write with him is just I've learned so much.
Oh, that's good. All right. So another one I want to ask about is called Amen. I love this too. Am I running out of amens? Are you running out of patience? Do these heathens hallelujahs even make it to you? So again, it sounds like a cry to God. That's like, okay,
Mhm.
do you actually hear me? Even though like I'm down here struggling and not being, you know, a good of person as you know, God may want you to be.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Oh my goodness. That one was the song of how many times, how many chances am I gonna get? Am I gonna keep messing up? And is
Mm.
I'm eventually might run out of amens. Maybe the next time I'm gonna be punished and that's it. Like it's over. So that was, a song of are we running out of amens? Am I running out of chances? But the good thing is we are not running out of chances. We just have to strive to be better.
All right. I love it. It's so good. And then we kind of mentioned this earlier, but You Need Jesus, the title of the track. The song, it says, "Oh, but falling out of love is like falling out of heaven. Dealing with the devil breaks your heart if you let him." So again, not a gospel song, but it I love the interplay and the juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
there was there
I
a
was
specific
telling,
relationship that was there a specific relationship that drove that one?
oh, there's, old relationships that I think back on, and that's the beauty of if people ever date a songwriter, you could be broken up for years, and we might pull that story right back out.
By the way, what's your relationship status now? If I might ask.
Oh, we are alone.
Alone,
Single mom.
single mom. All right. Well, that's good. Well, good. Well, you've got enough going on. You don't need some guy
Yeah.
hanging around, do you?
No, I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. I do need some new song ideas, so maybe I should start dating again.
All right. Well, good. Well, I think, yeah, your story is amazing. And what I love about it too is just like I think you're open, you're open to every sort of experience. You're open to your son, doing his thing, the collaboration, like all the things. Um, I started this podcast because I'm a big believer in curiosity. So hence the name Curious Goldfish. I think curiosity is underrated in romantic relationships, in family relationships, business, whatever. And I ask this of everybody, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say. But I guess, again, at this stage in your life, as a single mom, doing what you're doing, what are you most curious about?
Oh man, what am I most curious about? To see how far I can go with my music. I mean, that's my biggest curiosity, to see how far I can get in life, me and my son, and how much I can change our lives. I'm curious to see the next 5 years and what that looks like, with all the hard work and how that's gonna pay off, and, you know, being able to change my family's life. That would be the perfect scenario in a couple years. So I'm very curious about the future.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, do you have specific goals, or like, can you share one?
A goal of mine would be to now I always have outrageous goals, but a goal of mine would be to sell out an arena.
Hmm.
One of my biggest goals when I was younger was to win a Grammy Award. I always said, if I win a Grammy Award, I know I'm done. I don't have to do anything else.
No, for sure. No, I love how you put it earlier, like changing you and your son's life, because that doesn't have to be. I mean, obviously, financially would be awesome, but that could mean any number of really cool things, right? It could be
Yeah.
experiences and different things like that. But I love that. So thanks for
Yeah, and I
sharing that.
did. I definitely, from where we were to where we are today, if I was, my 20-year-old self would have been like, "What? You made it? You're singing? Like, you don't have to sell cars anymore?" So it's, I've definitely changed our lives, and just to see where else it's gonna go is I'm excited, to
Oh,
say
that's
the
good.
least.
So, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self or the other 20 somethings that are in Nashville trying to figure it out? Like, what would you tell that younger version of you and all these other people that are in that position today?
I would say to just believe in yourself, to keep going, to not let distractions, get in front, because you'll have so many distractions, whether it's boys, drama, friends, whatever it is. If you believe in something, because I knew when I was young that I wanted to be a singer, but
Hmm.
obviously I was a kid, and I ran with the wrong crowd, and I would, boys and all that, so I got distracted, which I guess you have to go through your own journey. But if somebody came back and said, focus, and you'll be a singer, then I would have obviously focused a little bit better.
Okay. Well, good. Well, it was so nice meeting you, Caitlin. I really appreciate your time. Congrats on the album.
Thank you.
I
Nice to
hope
meet
to
you
see you.
too.
Yeah, I hope to see you on tour and keep it up. And best to you and your son on all the things that are about to happen for you.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you.